Welcome everybody, Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. We're going to start our workshop at 5 p.m. Call to order, declaration of a quorum, 5 members present. We have 1 absent and the other not feeling well. So thank y'all for being here though. Welcome everybody. Brings item C, hearing of citizens. We have none. And then brings item D, D1, science update. I believe Ms. Gibson is going to present tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Horak, Dr. Harkreiter, members of the board. At last year's March board meeting, I had the opportunity to share the process we use to select K-12 science instructional materials. And today I'm here to give you a brief update on how all of that is going so far. Specifically tonight, I'll be sharing about our progress with year 1 focus areas. We'll review some year-over-year science comparative data. We'll look at student work samples and teacher feedback, and I'll wrap up with some action steps related to what we've learned so far. The focus areas for year 1 of implementation are as shown. Topics were moved, added, or removed in every single science course. And as those units roll, teachers are studying those TEKs and making the adjustments to realign their instruction to the new state standards. In order to best learn the new resources that the district purchased, we asked teachers to use them as a primary resource this year. We expected that we would have to make some adjustments after year 1, and with our usage being so strong this year, I am confident that we have sufficient data to make meaningful and targeted adjustments to our resource usage next school year. If you recall my presentation from last spring, I mentioned that the word count for phenomena and modeling were tremendous in our new science TEKs, and we selected resources that would help us implement those changes. Let's look at some science data. First off, we have our fall to winter MAP scores to compare this year with previous ones. We'll start off with comparing winter RIT growth. You guys have seen this report many times before, but just to review, the blue bars on the report show the average observed growth for all CSISD students in each tested grade level. The yellow rhombuses indicate that nationally normed grade level projected growth based on where students started out the school year. Mr. Mann mentioned this last month as well, but I always want to point out that the scale on the y-axis may vary from year to year. So as you're looking across, make sure you pay attention to those numbers on the y-axis. Second grade jumped from an average of 6 RIT points of growth from fall to winter to 9 this winter. Third through 7th grade are holding fairly steady with only 1 point of change. 8th grade saw significant growth, moving from an average of 2 points to 6 this winter. 9th grade students in biology are also holding steady, but I want to point out that our 10th grade students in biology went from negative RIT growth at winter last year to a positive 8 this year. The question we're exploring on this slide is, how much have our students grown in achievement from fall to winter this year? The first 2 columns show the average fall versus average winter achievement percentiles. The second to last column gives you your net change, and the last column shows how much variability is seen between campuses. Overall, we can note that 2nd and 8th showed the most improvement in achievement. 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, and bio are holding steady, and 4th grade dropped in achievement from fall to winter. There are a few known variables that may have impacted our achievement percentiles, the first of which is that science data for 3rd and 4th grade may have been impacted by the fact that some of our teams got behind in the district pacing. I've been working with ICs and campus teams to help get them kind of caught up again and back on the pacing, so that maybe impacted some of their percentile, particularly in 3rd and 4th grade. Our secondary science teams also had a head start on this year's instructional shifts. We began implementing changes like ADI labs and inquiry-based instruction way back in 2019. But in contrast, our elementary teachers who juggle multiple subjects first received PD on these changes last school year, and this is the first year they really have gone all in applying these new routines and frameworks. After looking at the current year's achievement change in fall to winter, I wondered whether this year was typical. This table shows a comparison of the net change in fall to winter achievement between last year and this year. Let's start by just comparing the achievement columns. We see improvement this year in every grade level except 4th, again with the most dramatic changes seen in 2nd grade and 8th grade. Next, look at the differences in spread last year versus this year. In most grade levels, we're seeing more variability this year than last year. I'm not surprised by this, though, because we're only a few months into these large shifts in our instructional practices, and we still have some wobble in our implementation to work on. I fully expect this to tighten up as we move forward. I rearranged the columns and rows from the last slide to show cohorts of students and their achievement percentiles. So let's look at that first row. It's last year's second grade students had a net change of 0 in their achievement from fall to winter. Those second graders are now in third grade, and our district average was a net change of -1. I'm pleased to observe that every cohort of students has improved with the exception of those first 2 rows, again, referring back to those variability expectations that I mentioned before. This year's group of 8th grade students stands out again here as well, showing 10 percentile points improvements over their winter achievement when they were in 7th grade. As a curriculum coordinator, it's also important for me to look at the data by instructional area. This helps me measure curriculum impacts on student growth, make decisions about changes or adjustments that are needed to the district curriculum, and maybe surface some professional learning needs as well. MAP divides all the topics we teach in 2nd through 8th grade into 3 buckets: physical science, earth science, and life science. Biology also has 3 instructional areas on MAP, shown in the table on the right side there on the screen. To distill the information shown here, I compared fall RIT points to winter RIT points, both for the current school year and last school year, specifically, again, looking at those instructional areas. The number in each box indicates how much better or worse the change in RIT scores were this year compared to last year. Green boxes indicate instructional areas that were taught prior to the mid-year MAP assessment. Yellow boxes are instructional areas that were still in progress but not yet completed at the time of the mid-year MAP. Positive numbers indicate improvement this year, negatives are declines. One possible reason why some of our green instructional areas have negative numbers is that these are the units that started off the school year, when science teachers in the district were just getting their feet under them with all the new aspects of our TEKS, and they were teaching the students all of these new instructional routines as well. By the middle of the school year, both teachers and students were becoming more accustomed to those changes, and our yellow boxes mostly show that improvement. To illustrate student learning, I'd like to share some examples of the great work CSISD students are doing so far this year. On the left, you see a Creekview kindergarten example of a whole class consensus model. The phenomena uses a windsock to anchor student learning around wind as moving air. The right side is a phenomena observation and model in a first grade classroom, also from Creekview. They were describing how animals and people use water by making connections to a video that showed tracks in the mud near a pond. In the example on the left, second grade student at Rock Prairie models sound vibrations between 2 tuning forks. On the right, fourth grade at College Hills used water beads to demonstrate conservation of matter. Here we see examples from 5th and 6th grade. On the left, 5th grade students at Pecan Trail were studying sedimentary rock formation and erosional features using the unique formations of Antelope Canyon in Arizona. In the 6th grade example from Cypress Grove, the phenomena was a video of a person riding an aquatic hoverboard, and they were using this to learn about Newton's third law of motion. 7th grade students at CSMS studied dissolution rates by observing candy canes in water in a variety of scenarios. Welborn 8th grade used a whoosh bottle to demonstrate and model the law of conservation of mass and balancing chemical equations. In these 2 examples from College View High School, we see physics on the left, where students were asked to model how collisions impact motion by using hockey players hitting a wall of the rink as their anchoring phenomena. In the chemistry example, students explained the purpose of the mole as they answered the question, why do we quantify matter in different ways? During the February 17th PD Day, I asked the second through high school teachers to fill out a survey to give feedback on how year 1 was going for them so far. I asked questions to gather curriculum and resource feedback as well as professional growth reflections. I also asked the question you see on the slide here, how have your students grown related to the new TEKS and new instructional resources? Across all campuses and levels, these 4 areas were consistently mentioned: improved writing skills, improvement in how well students were able to represent their thinking using models and diagrams, students becoming more independent in their learning, and teachers noticing the quality of class discussions improving as well. A few of our teachers had standout feedback, and with their permission, I have their comments to share as well. Emily McLaren from Spring Creek is noticing improvement in academic vocabulary. Robin Haas, 3rd grade, typo on the slide, from River Bend, noticed better collaboration and problem-solving skills with her students. Beth Hudson at Oakwood is noticing how much more students are seeing the connections between learning experiences from day to day and how each day of a unit connects to the phenomena that they're studying. Megan Ullman at AMCMS is happy to see gaps closing for her students. And Eden Fielder at Consol has seen growth not just in single tasks of modeling, but also in how students are revising those models and changing their ideas over the course of the unit. This year has already been a tremendous learning experience for K-12 science, and we're using these insights to shape future plans. Our resource selection has proven strong, and these materials will remain the foundation of Tier 1 instruction. With extensive use this year, we now have the data to refine how we use them, determining where to follow as written, where to adjust for district priorities, and where to swap activities to better fit our needs. We, that is teachers, students, instructional coaches, and myself, have grown so much already in our understanding of three-dimensional phenomena-based instruction. Through collaboration both within teams and across the district, many ideas have been shared that are helping us establish a better grip on these new routines. Next year, we'll be able to start the school year off strong, having learned, tried, and tested all of the ideas we had from this school year. Since we started over to build new science curriculum documents with our new TEKS, our current documents have some areas that are not yet fully developed, such as assessments. I also expect to receive actionable feedback as a result of the curriculum audit, which will guide our revisions for next school year. In the areas of professional learning, we will be exploring ways to improve the quality and quantity of student discourse, as well as providing structures around the alignment and scaffolding of science writing tasks. I'm confident that we're going to learn as much in year 2 as we have in year 1, but for now, our focus for year 3 will be on refining resource use, improving instructional efficiency with the new routines, and building and strengthening our assessments. For professional learning, we will do a deep dive into the engineering design process, as that is another foundational piece of our new TEKS. It's kind of an unexplored territory up to this point. Thank you for the opportunity to share. Any questions?
Awesome. I asked Amanda to showcase everything tonight, just from a standpoint of the district made a significant investment in IMA materials last year to get prepared for the new TEKS. The rollout, Amanda and the ICs and the staff, it was not pretty at first. There was a lot of new, there was a lot of headaches, but they stayed the course. Amanda did a wonderful job, and I just wanted to be able to show you the results of a commitment to a plan, the great job that our staff did and our teachers committing to a plan, and the great work by our students. So it was just an opportunity to showcase, and if you've got any questions, she can definitely answer science questions better than me, but I just want to tell you, you did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate us going back and looking at it. And I don't know, as far as data goes, it sounds like from the learning and, keep people doing, students understanding these phenomena and being able to model them, you had some wonderful examples, right? And it sounds like you think that is very positive. And I can see that, right? In the good classroom discussions and the writing around it, all wonderful, wonderful things. Were there any of concerns from the teacher, or is it just mostly that it's new and having to make that transition? I mean, is there?
Yeah, I think that what I've heard from teachers, especially, and really our experienced ones, it's really hard for them because, it's as you teach year over year, you refine what you use, you learn from having put it in front of students, you tweak and adjust, and it gets better and better and better and better every year. And then when you start over with new TEKS and with TEKS that changed as much as ours did, we have to kind of rely on that new resource to get us over the hump. What that means functionally is that we have had very, very experienced teachers multiple have told me, I feel like a first-year teacher again. And I've just reassured them, think of all that you already know about classroom management and efficiency routines in the classroom. You are not a first-year teacher. You're just feeling the pinch with all of the new things that we're having to learn with the new routines and stuff. And that's where I think that the chart that I showed with the green and yellow boxes is really encouraging because at the beginning of the year, we were figuring it out still, and we're starting to see some gains there in those as we go through those instructional areas in the school year. So
I really appreciate that and that answer, because obviously it's been work for
It's
you,
tough.
but the whole science team across
Yeah,
all grade
yeah,
levels. So
yeah, I cannot
thanks all
say
around.
enough good things about them as a whole and just the way they are leaning on each other. They're planning and helping each other out in ways that they have done well before, but are even leveling that up. Partially due to the rollout of PLC work that we're doing in the district, there's a structure there that's really helping them with that planning, and they're really digging in to do that work this year. So, I mean, they are the real heroes here in the presentation is our science teachers for sure. So.
I do have two other quick little questions one on the data, and one was that there was some discussion, that the TEKs have moved. I mean, obviously they changed, but that they have moved from grade to grade so much,
Correct, yeah.
and that maybe some of the MAP scores were swinging just because some kids were getting things they'd seen before, and some kids were getting new things. So, I don't know, just wondered your opinion on how much that's going to affect MAP and even STAR, just because things are at different grade levels now.
Yeah,
So.
well, so I'll say two things about that. One, the MAP data, we just have one data point right now. Well, I guess fall and then mid-year, so we have those two to compare. But we're really looking just at one data point mid-year, and it's very encouraging. And so we do need to take that into consideration, though, as additional data points come in, which is partially why I really wanted to see that survey data from the teachers on February 17th, because that gave me some really good feedback about, mentioning our curriculum documents were kind of started over. So as teachers are going through this new process and teaching with these new routines, are there things that need to go in our curriculum documents to support that work for them? The second thing that I would say related to TEKS moving is that this year, the STAR test is only going to assess those standards that were in that grade level before. So anything that moved isn't being assessed until the next school year. So they have a specific blueprint for STAR that's for this year only, and then they're going to revise that, and then we'll be moving forward, and it will be as it will be for however long it takes to change our standards again.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully many years, but we'll stick with that assessment blueprint after this school year.
Okay, good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
My only other thing on the data, the thing that stood out to me almost the most was the variation number that you showed, the spread numbers. I mean, you mentioned just a little bit, but I mean, that was really big. So it's like, to me, that some kids are really taking to this and some are not, right? And I don't know if you have any input on that and how maybe you're going to adjust for that next year.
Well, as I've been going around visiting with teams, it's been really helpful to hear. I've been a little bit of a myth buster too, because we had training in the summer and then we had more training in August, and they were drinking from the fire hose, and then they got the materials and the students, and they were actually doing all this stuff in real time. And there were things that were mentioned in training that they needed to hear again that would help them with some of those efficiencies, and help them with, and really I think the most powerful thing that I keep coming back to with this new way of teaching is the summary table, because it asks students and teachers to have the conversation of how is what we learned today connect to that phenomena, so that students are seeing that progression from day to day, so that they're not walking into a classroom saying, what are we doing today? They're walking into the classroom saying, what are we doing next, right? And so to a student, it can be feel kind of disconnected. The teacher has her plan on lock, or his plan on lock. He and she know the calendar in their head, but the student's lived experience is just kind of like they show up to class. What are we doing today, right? And so that changes that for them as well. So them using the summary table and some of those other routines, I think, are helping with that. And then just going around and visiting with teams to be a bit of a myth buster and be an encourager, to help them to just say, this is where you're doing really well. Maybe think about making an adjustment here. And then again, like as I've gone around, we're finding spots where folks were several weeks behind in the district pacing. And just again, having that conversation with them, getting to sit down at the table with them and say, what's causing you guys to get behind? How can I come alongside and help? Let's look at what's essential that's coming up and make a plan moving forward. So.
Well, thanks. And I would just say that looking at spread was important, right? That some kids are getting it really well and some kids are not. So you can't not just look at the average. So
Yeah,
appreciate
agreed.
it. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the PLCs because I would think this is exactly a benefit of a PLC is so these teachers could collaborate.
Yes.
So you're seeing that throughout the district and that they're, like you mentioned, they feel like they're first year teachers, but they can all come together and share what's working and what's not working.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's most effectively happening at secondary because the teachers only teach science. It's a struggle at elementary because they have so many different subjects that they have to teach. So we see more spread at elementary. Again, like I mentioned, they're newer to the whole routines of instructional, all this new stuff that we're doing, whereas secondary had a much longer ramp up to it. And then we're just continuing to work with elementary teachers because they have to spin a lot of plates. And so it's going to take them a little bit longer to get their feet under them. So having that awareness of the spread and knowing where where there may be folks that are bottoming out, and then going and helping with those specific teams to help them with that. But yeah,
Just looking at some of this data here, which is very informative, but I think you said, looking at this, that fourth grade was the only one that really kind of stood out as struggling. Is that?
there were places where both third and fourth. When we looked at the cohorts, third also showed up as a one that dropped a bit, and then fourth grade also.
Well, and from what I also picked up that I really like, I guess maybe even from the teacher feedback, and I wrote it down here, the students are learning a whole lot to be more of a well-rounded student because not only are they learning the science piece of this, which is the directive of the subject, but they're actually learning the writing skills, you know, comprehension, things like that, which helps them throughout everything.
Yes,
So
cross-curricular.
huge, obviously, for our younger students, K through 4, and then obviously that can just grow there. One of the looking ahead, refining resource use and continued build out of curriculum documents. That's, I mean, that's self-explanatory. That's just the working through the woes and what works and what doesn't, and fixing that. I mean, but it sounds like the program and everything, kind of like what Ms. Simmons said with the PLCs and this and that, moving forward, those questions and struggles are being able to be addressed sooner.
Yes,
Okay,
that's the hope.
good.
From my kiddos, so I'm kind of seeing how they get to be creative and use their imagination within science, which is really neat. They're also getting to draw and print, and I just think that's really great for retention. So yes, are we going to have hardship? Yes, but when we're uncomfortable, we're growing. I
Yeah.
think that's the whole goal this year is to grow.
Yes, thank you.
100%. Actually, do you mind going back to the one with the red and blue arrows? I just want to make sure everybody understands or sees the variation numbers, you know, like you said, because I didn't notice it at first, the third grade, until that third grade one was on there. I think, is that what you mean? Like one is low, is negative 19, and then some are +2, so that average is only the -1, but we have some areas that are low, yeah.
And those are campus.
Right, you're looking at it.
Campus numbers, yeah.
Yeah, the campus spread, yeah.
Thank you again for all your work on this whole year, and the whole science team.
Thank y'all for the opportunity to visit with y'all today.
That'll bring us to item D2, construction update. Everybody can't wait for this one.
Dr. Harkrider, President Horak, members of the board. Sorry, I'm a little confused. Dr. Harkrider looks so good wearing maroon, it just threw me off. Took 18 months, but we got him wearing maroon, ladies and gentlemen. There may be hope for him yet, nonetheless. Excited to be here today. Tonight's a really big night. When we get to the board meeting tonight, you'll be asked to approve a guaranteed maximum price for A&M Consolidated High School, College Station High School in Rock Prairie. There's been a lot of planning that has gone into that to lead us up to this point. Tonight, with this construction update, I'll talk to you a little bit about the email that went out to the Consol families right before spring break. I know that stirred up some questions and other things of that nature, but I just want to let you know that a great deal of time and effort has gone into that as well. None of this has been made without a great deal of planning, a lot of conversations, and I think I've said a number of times to Dr. Harkrider over the last few months that paranoid people survive. And so I'm constantly just rethinking things and asking questions and sitting in Mr. Dunson's office and hashing things out. So with that, I'll take you through a quick review of what we got coming up. So just for that email that went out regarding the parking spaces, just want to kind of give you a timeline of some of the meetings that we've had. This is certainly doesn't encompass all of the meetings that we've had related to the parking situation, but a great deal of planning has gone into this because it does impact 96 student parking spaces at A&M Consolidated High School, as well as 47 staff spaces. Now, not 47 staff spaces that are parked in every single day, but 47 parking spaces. So we started this conversation back in December with Mrs. Elder, Shannon Caltharp, our Director of Transportation, Ms. Leifer, as you know, Teaching and Learning, Austin Dunson, and then our Executive Director of Facilities, Paul Buckner. From there, I have observed the parking lot. I observed it every day for a week. I have observed it about 15 times since December, early mornings, late afternoons, parking in the parking lot, walking over and observing things. And what we have done is we feel like we have formulated a plan that allows us to disrupt the fewest amount of people as possible. We certainly don't take it lightly that we're putting a laydown yard where there's 96 parking spaces where students have spent a great deal of time painting their parking spaces. At the same time, I'll show you this really was something that was unavoidable and something we couldn't we couldn't avoid. It was just one of those situations where to be a good steward of taxpayer money, we needed to push forward now, and I'm glad that we're able to get to the guaranteed maximum price tonight. So with this timeline here, you can see that we have done a great deal of planning. A lot of people have been a part of this conversation. With the next slide that I'm going to come into, I want to go ahead and quickly say that Julie White across the street at Grace Southwood campus has been absolutely amazing to work with. They've had relationships on again, off again with Consolidated across the street. Sometimes we have great communication. Sometimes it falls through the cracks a little bit. She's been amazing. We're doing some things to help her with her parking lot. And now we have an MOU, so we are now leasing their back half of their parking lot. We paid $1 and we agreed to stripe their parking lot, which we did last week, which is really big for us, not just because it provides us with 185 additional parking spaces to more than cover what we're taking away with our construction, but it also now allows us the opportunity, if you're going to park over there, you're going to have a parking permit, and we'll have your vehicle registered. So now we will have our parking lot attendant monitoring that lot. At the same time, our drug dogs, when they come to campus, will now be able to go into that back half of that lot because we now have a lease agreement in place. We're working right now for the rest of the school year to make sure that we get our people trained to start parking where Grace would like for them to park. If you ever go over there, we have between 100 and 150 kids that park there now as it is. We've even had school buses parked in their lot, and they've just asked that we limit our parking to the back half of the lot because they do have a number of different events and different programs and Bible studies that take place throughout the week, and they want their patrons to be able to park up close. So Julie White's been amazing to work with, and we're very grateful for her time and consideration. So this was shared out. I can walk you through this. So as you well know, the bus loop will be going away, and that is where the construction will be starting for the expansion with the additional science labs, some special education classrooms, and some things related to a new weight room and some other items. And so that yellow line that you see is our safety fencing, and that safety fencing will come all the way down, and it runs all the way up to the corner there of that one-way road, because at that one-way road, we'll have to go 20 foot deep to tie into a line there, and so we're going to take that fencing all the way up to there. With this, we're relocating our bus lane to the front of the school. We chose the front of the school because we already have our sped buses that drop off in the front of the school. We only have at Consolidated, it's 12 buses, I do believe, it may be 13. I think it's 12 buses that drop off at Consolidated. And in my observations, if you've ever been at Consol, people drop off in the one-way. People drop off in the middle of Welsh. People drop off in the middle of 2018. Kids run across the street. We have people that try to pull into the bus lane. People come in and they drop off anywhere and everywhere, but amazingly, they don't drop off in the front of the school. And so we felt like moving our buses from the bus lane back to the front of the school would really be beneficial for them. It makes it a little bit of a tight squeeze for us on that one lane. And so you'll see there, it says no parking bus access. Every single one of those teachers that's going to be impacted by this, they actually have room in the parking lot that's there that says staff parking with the blue circle. The other day, I went through there was 37 people parked along their street, and there was 37 parking spots available within the staff parking lot. And so it's a matter of convenience for them. A lot of them like to enter that side entrance It's just one of those situations with what we have going with construction. We can't have our buses taking a right out of the lane there and have on cars on both sides. It'll be too tight of a fit. I don't need our buses playing bumper cars, and so we're just going to move those people away. Going over here where you can see those 96, I don't have a laser pointer here, I apologize. The rectangle over here closest to the left, it says no parking, construction yard laydown. That is where our Durotech construction yard laydown will be placed. They will start moving in their safety fencing on Saturday. Their mobile trailer will be moved in on Tuesday. They will work electrical into that, get that all hooked up next week, and they will start construction within that parking lot of the bus lane with the curbs and everything else, getting stuff out of the way, demolition and all that next week. And so that's where those 96 parking spaces are impacted. I will tell you, there's been a number of considerations as to why we had to have it there and not other places. And one of the reasons why it's there is that's the closest proximity to the laydown yard for us. We have met with Durotech a number of times on site. We've been on site with Miss Elder. We even had this discussion again right before spring break, before we put out all of this information. And with this, we have actually reduced that space and tightened them as much as they can, because as you well know, that alleyway leading up to the multi-sport field house is where we park all of the school buses for people that attend, or for our visiting teams, for Tiger football games. And then we wanted to make sure that we had that access point in and out of the parking lot as well, but just because it is, there's so many people that drop off on the back half of the consolidated parking lot. Now, the student parking lot highlighted there in green at the top of the screen, that is also what we consider the band parking lot. And so you can't reserve spaces there because we have a football field painted there, because that is where the band practices their marching. Band knows that they are going to need to be able to practice in a situation where they can't block those parking spaces. There are a number of parking spaces readily available there for students. That lot stays primarily empty. And then you can see across the street, I've highlighted the back half of the parking lot from Grace Bible Church that they so gracefully allow us to use. That's 185 parking spaces there. That more than covers us. And then just above that student parking lot, above the band lot, if you drive by there right now, you'll notice that there is a gravel yard there now that we have installed. That will be the construction laydown yard for the roofing project that is also fixing to start. Now, you might be looking at me like, why are we starting a roofing project and an expansion project at the same time? We've known for a number of years that we needed a new roof at A&M Consolidated High School. We've been working on this since I got into this position a year ago, February, and we are finally at a point now where we're going to be mobilizing and getting started on that very soon. But we've done a number of years, 3 phases, the last 3 summers of remodels at A&M Consolidated High School, and some of those remodeled areas already have water damage. So it didn't make sense for us to invest millions of dollars and to continue to remodel and expand on A&M Consolidated High School without repairing the roof. It's going to be a long, tedious process. They're going to get started on the athletic wing over the gyms in that area, and then the cafeteria. And then once we get into the summertime, they will move as quickly as possible. And the goal is to tie it all together with the new expansion when it all comes together. Now, that's assuming that the Aggie Dome cooperates. I thought we had a dome. Somebody's retracted the roof here recently. So if you want to close that for our construction projects, it'd be greatly appreciated. So with this, considerations, why didn't we wait till the summertime? Well, number one, if we wait till the summertime, it would put us finishing this project in the middle of a semester. That's not the best thing for the campus. That's not the best thing for us as a district and for our students. By getting it started now, we give ourselves a chance of being completed in the summer of 2026. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that play into that on whether or not that timeline is going to work. It is an aggressive timeline, but it's what we're pushing to do. The general condition costs. Once we lock in this GMP tonight, we start paying general condition costs. We're locked in March. We don't want to pay general condition costs through April and May. Inflationary costs. Had we waited and done one project at a time, there is a number of things that are being done with this project that are outside the scope, that were not initially in the scope, that we've been able to put in as alternates and get accepted because we've been so aggressive in getting this done. We also avoid the inflationary costs, and who really knows what's fixing to happen with the tariff battles that seem to be ongoing. If you read KBTX yesterday, they were talking about lumber costs and different things going on. Lumber is not really going to impact us in this project, but it can certainly impact us with HVAC and some of our other mechanical systems, because it seems like anything is up for grabs right now when it comes to tariffs. Why not on a grass field? Had we gone on the grass field that is to the left there, the practice football field that's right there beside the multi-sport field house, we would have had construction, equipment, heavy steel, and various things trying to navigate through a student parking lot with 96 students. That wasn't the safest thing for our students. That wasn't the safest thing for the gentlemen that are going to be working on the construction project. And so we opted that was not a good option. People have asked, why didn't we go across the street at the tennis courts? Have you tried to cross Welsh in the mornings or in the afternoons? Again, not the safest thing. And in the city wasn't real big on the idea of us having construction traffic back and forth across the street, nor do they want the debris or the trash that could potentially come from projects on the street. And so the safest place for us was the closest proximity, and that is that laydown yard there. Additional scope. So at Consolidated, we put in a number of alternates that we were able to get in. For example, Ms. Elder has requested, since this project started 3 years ago with all of the remodel, that the lockers be removed from A&M Consolidated High School. We're now able to remove the lockers from A&M Consolidated High School. If you've been in the district, we have the nice gray tile that's in that foyer area that hits the wall. It looks really good, and then it runs into and it abruptly stops, and it's the tile from, I think, when Mr. Horak was back at A&M Consolidated High School. So, that's been from the 80s. It's time for us to scrape that and get that clean. Apologies, sir. And then the biggest piece is the completion date. Yeah. Then the completion date piece for us. We really are trying to push hard to have this finished in the summer, so that way we have it for an entire school year. If you finish it in the middle of a semester, which some of our projects unfortunately may be that way, if we finish in the middle of a semester, it's going to be harder for us to utilize that space. It impacts master schedules. It's a lot more work on the campus, and it doesn't allow us to take full advantage of it. And so our aggressiveness with this timeline is the reason why we are where we are at, and the reason why we haven't waited until the summertime, because we are trying to absolutely push to get this done, so we're not wasting our money or the taxpayers' money. So with A&M Consolidated, that was A&M Consolidated High School. So tonight you'll approve the guaranteed maximum price. They're going to mobilize, as I said, on March. We will have permits ready to go for demo and everything. Demo and everything else, and we will be rocking and rolling, pushing hard with an expected completion date summer of 2026. Going backwards. So College Station High School. Similar situation upcoming at College Station High School. You'll be approving that guaranteed maximum price along with Rock Prairie tonight. I don't have anything to tell you a whole lot about Rock Prairie this evening, other than the fact that you're approving the GMP for Rock Prairie with College Station High School, because that allowed us to get more competitive bids for Rock Prairie, which helped us tremendously in getting competitive prices. It was a little bit of a last-minute Hail Mary, and it worked tremendously, and we're very excited at what it's led to for that process. So with College Station High School, again, GMP tonight, pay attention, we're looking to mobilize there on April the 1st. Now, that expected completion is October of 2026, but that takes us from a 2-year project down to an 18-month project. Potentially, we are pushing as hard as we can to get that one done. College Station High School, while it's easier in the sense of finding a laydown yard that doesn't impact a lot of people, it's harder in the sense that we are expanding off 4 corners of that building. And so it's a greater impact, it's a larger site, and it makes it much more difficult and challenging for us. So again, yellow, you'll see the safety fencing. We met on site today with the fire marshal and one of the city planners. They've pointed out a couple of things that they want us to do. It's not an issue. We will be able to get that taken care of right away as far as our egress is concerned for some of these projects. But you'll see the students will have to enter into the front half of the building or the back half of the building where the cafeteria doors are. If you've ever been to College Station High School in the morning, a number of kids are entering through the back half of the school because they park in the parking lot, they go to the field house, or they have business on this side, and then they come in the back doors. And so we're impacting very little parking at this campus. We met on site a number of times with Mr. Grimes. We initially wanted to really take away that entrance that you see there to the left, but we've agreed for his thoroughfare that they can come in, circle in, drop off, come out. If it becomes a problem, we'll see. We'll talk about it at the end of the semester and maybe reevaluate. But we have limited, we've taken away very few parking spaces, and you can see there are a number of empty parking spaces there available. Reason why we're able to avoid having to impact this campus so much is because of all the green space that you see will be our laydown yards for College Station High School.
Can I just ask on that one? So, like, whenever there's this yellow fence, that will there be any in and out of those fences for staff or students, or only for the workers? I mean, what the yellow fences, what does that mean exactly?
That's safety fencing. So that's your 6-foot tall safety fencing. It won't have windscreens on it, but it'll be all interlocked and tied together. The only in and out on a daily basis will be for the contractors and our superintendent that is working the job there. We will have the ability to have them an emergency egress should they need it. But that's a situation where that is the only reason why anybody should be in those yards. What we'll be doing over the weekends when we start this project is we'll actually be building partition walls to block off, so that way our contractors and our people that are working on the site do not have interaction with the students. So we'll be doing that after hours, and we'll be doing that on the weekends, so that way we can make sure that we're putting those things in place to keep students away from our contractors.
Like in the
Within the
in the
building, yes,
buildings,
because
yeah.
we're going to be ripping off the ends of the building. So March, we're getting ready. Consol expansion, roof replacement. We're currently doing Spring Creek roof repairs. Spring Creek has leaked since the day it opened. And so we've been working on that for quite some time. We've got some warranty that's going into that as well. We've met with a number of different, with our consultant from Armco and a number of other people. We feel really confident about the plan that's in place there. They're going to be doing all of that work now. They started walking the campus and building last week, and they're doing it after hours, not to disturb the campus. Within April, we'll be starting our CSHS expansion, pushing as hard as we can to get that done. May, we'll start the Rock Prairie remodel, which will be a 2-summer project. We'll also be doing bathrooms one at a time with 2 people working those projects throughout the school year, kind of like you see at an airport type situation. And then in May, more is coming. We'll get the GMP for our stadiums, for the Consol Fieldhouse, for the CSHS Prex Box repairs, some of the concrete heaving and the other things that are going into all of that. And then in May and June, we'll be starting the baseball and softball fields, and then we'll be doing CTE Phase 2. You'll get that GMP, and we'll kick that project off. So essentially, every single project that was within the 2 bonds that just recently passed, with the exception of a potential buying a new building and remodeling this central office and scoping it out for a central office, we have got every single project ready to get started. As Dr. Harkrider, when we got it, he said, "Go! Don't waste our time. Don't waste our money. Get the project started." And here we are now. We're at the time where we're about to get projects started, and it's going to be really busy for the next couple of years. And there's going to be some discomfort in the growth, but at the same time, instead of stretching it out one project at a time and doing it little by little, we're going to get it all done and push as hard as we can to get it done as quickly as possible, so we can be good stewards of our taxpayers' money, and so our kids can utilize these new facilities that are going to be amazing. Questions?
I just want to say, I really appreciate y'all hitting the ground running. As someone whose kid's impacted and has to fight for a parking spot, it's all going to be okay. It's what we should be doing, and that is trying to make the dollar go as far as possible. And I'm excited to see all the projects. And just to go on record, I was at Consol in the 80s, and I didn't have a painted parking spot, and I'm okay. And I know I'm probably going to make some parents mad by saying that are super upset, but if this is the biggest hurdle that they have to face, they're going to be okay. There's plenty of parking over there. I managed to find a parking spot every day.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a decision that we made lightly. We talked about it a lot. We considered a lot of different things. Poor Mr. Dunson, I was in his office a lot, just bouncing things off of him, constantly trying to get this figured out. I will tell you, with baseball and softball coming, that's more construction. With the field house coming and the stadiums coming, that's more construction. We got 2 lay-down yards now currently across the street. We're going to have another one on this side of the street. It's going to be awful for a couple of years, but Consol has needed this for a really, really, really long time. And I'm excited that we're able to deliver on these things. And by pushing so aggressively, we're able to deliver more for them than what was in the original scope of the project. And I think that's really, really big for them.
I'm very glad you went through it all. And like you said, it's going to be hard. I mean, I think that and is something we all need to realize, right? And certainly the folks around Consol. But just like you said, it is definitely needed, and it's overdue. And you're right, even though part of me is like, oh my gosh, are you going to sleep for 2 years?
No.
Right? No, you're not. And it's going to be hard for many reasons. Just like you said, Heather, that being able, your reasons for the financial side of getting this started are so, I believe, so real. I mean, obviously there's always some unknown, but it's sure seems like
There's
makes
definitely
sense.
going to be unknowns, and there's
Yeah.
definitely going to be curveballs and things that come up. But once we lock in these GMPs, we're going to be in a really good place, and we just need to get started. We need to get started.
I felt really good about all the parking until you said that there's already 150 people parking at Gracewood. And then I was like, how are we going to move more? That was the only thing that.
We're going to be fine. Out of those 150 people, that is an excessive day. I've been over there numerous times. I went through there yesterday. There was 87 people parked over there. However, out of those 87, I talked to Julie. She felt like roughly 30 of those were probably college students or people that were parking there that were going in into their church facilities. They've also got people that have been parking in their parking lot from across the street. They're going to work with us. They just ask that we keep our people parking as far away from the building as possible. Now, they've given us 185 spaces. If it turns out that we need a little bit more going into that next phase, which she calls Lot C, we'll be fine. But there's a lot of spaces that are readily available in the band parking lot. The biggest piece right now, why you have so many people that are parking over there that are students, is they don't have to pay for a parking permit. I've been there. I've watched it. Not a single parking permit in that parking lot. And then you've got kids that are, figuring out if they park over there, they might be able to go get them Chick-fil-A for lunch. I've observed a lot of things over the last
Yeah,
few weeks. So
I agree. Let's
none of them offered me lunch, but it's nonetheless.
and it's good that that we're able to get those marked spaces and have that available.
We painted their spaces for them last week, every single one in the parking lot.
And other thing I'd say, I know you've had a lot of conversations, and I appreciate you being, the things I've heard is you're very willing to talk to everybody about this and help work through it all. So that's.
It impacts a lot of people, and it's no decisions made lightly. We can try to consider everything that we can, but the biggest driving force, I've heard you say it before over the years, is we have to be good stewards of taxpayer money. And in fact, I've heard you say we have to be better stewards of taxpayer money. And that's what we're trying to do right now by getting these projects started. My mom's a CPA. I grew up with a CPA in my life. Like I live here. I have 4 kids. I've got skin in the game. Like, I pay taxes here too. Like, I want to make sure that we get every single thing out of the dollar that we can. We're going to fight for every penny, and we're going to make sure that we deliver projects that take care of our district. We're CSISD, and we want to make sure that people know that we take great pride in the projects that we're trying to deliver.
Exactly. And keep our students safe throughout all this too. So you pointed out a lot of those things you're doing as well.
Do we still have, I feel like at one point on the district website, we had presentations about what we were actually going to do at both the high schools in terms of what was going to be added and those kind of things. Are those still up on the website?
Yes, ma'am.
I just bring that up because I had questions today from just a friend about, well, wait, you're actually adding on to Consol, like what's going on? And so I could explain, and that's not the scope of this presentation, but if we have people out there that are still wondering exactly what are we doing, go take a look at those presentations
Yeah.
because there's a lot of great things.
They'll be archived under the bond that it was approved in, and then as we get schematics and drawings, which we are getting together for all the different projects, then Austin and his team will start putting that out so you can kind of see the project come to life versus looking at Science Wing Edition to Consol, where here's renderings of what it's going to look like.
Did I miss something where we're not allowed to park on Nueces Street anymore? Because I had an N tag, and I knew how to parallel park, so I parked there. Is that not allowed anymore? No, I'm serious.
No,
Like,
I mean-
I really don't know because
There still can
When I-
be some spots where you can park on the Oasis Court. They have posted some signs, no parking, stopping, standing.
I didn't know.
And so that just really comes down to enforcement. But you can park in some areas of Oasis, but a lot of it has got those signs posted now for no parking, stopping, or standing, loading. I don't remember
Okay.
exactly what it says.
I just
but
didn't
it's
know
to
on
that
that.
effect.
And you mentioned awful, you mentioned hard, this and that. Y'all, I mean, it's just a change in your routine. And if we look at it that way, it's the growing pains of what we're doing, and I get it. It's frustrating, but it's just a change in the routine, and it becomes a new routine, and then you'll go back to your old routine.
And look, we're going to be observing. I'll be in the parking lot a lot. I'll be in the parking lot at Southwood Valley or Southwood Great Bible Campus next week with our parking lot attendant, trying to make sure that he's set up for success and everything else. We're going to be visibly present, and we're on job sites every single day. If we need to pivot and make an adjustment, we will. Most important thing for us right now is keeping our students safe. Next thing after that is getting these projects underway and getting started and moving the ball forward, so we're not wasting time or money.
And just to all my Consol parking friends, I do wish there could have been a better solution for the kids who actually paid for reserve spots. But I trust that you and the team and everybody involved have gone through all of the options, and
We met with Jen White and Sarah Riggs on numerous
many
occasions.
times. Yeah, exactly. And Gwen.
And Gwen, Jen White, the PTO president, and I have walked the parking lot together 3 separate times. Mr. Buckner has walked it with us as well. She's had meetings with Mrs. Elder. We've had meetings with Mrs. Elder. Because it's an impact for the next couple of years, but it's a situation where when you really start to think about it, I don't know what else you can do, because you're not going to paint parking spaces in the church parking lot. You can't paint on the band parking lot, And it's a situation where for the safety of the campus, that was the most secure location for that laydown yard. And we've already made that laydown yard smaller than what they wanted to. Like they may have to expand over the summertime and then shrink back down whenever the school year comes back in to session. Thank you, folks.
Brings item D3, demographer update.
Howdy, Dr. Harkrider, Mr. Horick, Board of Trustees. I would like to introduce you to Paul Cash. He's with Zonder, and he's going to be presenting our demographic update.
All right, y'all see, I needed somebody to sit with me. I'm not allowed to sit by myself, and so we'll see how
Absolutely
that
not.
works out.
I did bring my ruler, though. So.
That's all right. Maybe we'll get through it, but Mr. Horak, Dr. Harkrider, trustees, thanks for for having me. I am Paul Cash with Zonda Demographics, and so we'll go through our demographic report pretty quickly. If you have questions either during or after, then certainly we can ask questions. Oh, I've got the clicker here. All right. So just some fun facts about College Station ISD. You guys are 102 square miles. Median age. This is kind of funny. I laughed when I went through this information because obviously there's some schools that are close to you guys that impact some of your demographics in regard to census data. And this is just from census data. But the median age is 24. Median household income, $57,000. And then what I like to talk about down in the bottom is your population by generation. You guys have 8.6 are baby boomers, 10.7% of your population are Gen Xers. And then you have 21%, millennials get beat up pretty good, but you have 21% that are millennials. And then shocker of shockers, your Gen Zers, the kids that are age 9 to 26, make up 49% of your area. And so just based on information from the census. So one of the measures that we use to talk about economic strength of a community is the unemployment rate. You can see here that you guys have gone up slightly, Brazos County and the College Station Bryan area, from 2.7 to 3, and then 2.6, 3.1. But those are extremely low. And so anything 4 or under is really considered to still be fully employed. And so the economic conditions here in the area remain strong. When we look at the housing market, you can see on the graphic on the right that sales are down in the area when you compare last year to this year. I mean 22, 23 to 23, 24. And the reason is obvious. If you raise the average price and you raise the median price of homes, then you're not gonna have as many sales. And then the other aspect of that is when you don't sell as many houses, then you have more listings and you have more inventory. And so that does show that that sale prices have gone up and housing sales have slowed. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. This right here does talk about the home sales. And this is just for the first semester. This is all based on school year data. And so you can see here that over the last 3 years, housing sales have gone down. Right now, in the first half of the school year, it closed on about 509 homes. The expectation is that'll probably end at about 1,200. But with interest rates the way they are, and as we mentioned in the last slide, sales have slowed across the district. When we look at the prices of homes, this is an extremely interesting slide, is that the existing home price a year ago was pretty much equal to the average new home price. But this school year, it has surpassed it. And so our records show that the average new home price at this time is gone down slightly. It's just under $400,000. But the average existing home price has increased to $460,000. And so that's kind of an odd phenomenon. And it just goes to show you that, the new home growth is not there. And so people are finding existing homes. So it's talking about new home growth. Currently, there are 26 active building subdivisions in the district. There are 6 future subdivisions. And you can see on this map that most of the growth is in the southeastern part of the district. If you kind of put a quadrant there, it's over in the Pebble Creek and the Forest Ridge elementary attendance zones is where we are seeing the most activity. So I want to briefly go over a few of those. Southern Point is a subdivision, active subdivision in the Pebble Creek elementary attendance zone. It has over 2,000 total lots. 600 of those are occupied, and so right about a little bit over a third or under a third of those, 11 are under construction, and it still has 1,420 lots. But one of the things I want to look at that I'm going to emphasize in some of these subdivisions is the student yield there. The current school year, that yield is 0.397. So here's what that means. For every 10 occupied homes, there's approximately 4 students that come from those homes. Now, something that's unusual is typically as a subdivision expands, the student yield has a tendency to go up. But you can see here that over the past year, the student yield has actually dropped a little bit from last year to this year. The next we want to look at is Green Prairie Reserve. It is an active subdivision in the Greens Prairie Elementary Zone. It has 639 total lots. 176 of those are occupied. 55 of those are ready for building now, and still have, almost half of that or over half of that are still future lots. The price point on this subdivision is 700,000 plus. And so you can see the satellite image on the right that just came from December, how the development's going and the roads and everything that are, in there. Because you have, 75 people living there now. So when we look at Midtown Reserve, the next one, it's in the Southwood Valley Elementary Zone, 967 total lots, 2/3, 400 of those are occupied, but it still has 500 future lots. And so the price point on that is about $220,000. It's a D.R. Horton development, and they are producing 70 to 80 homes a year. And the student yield for that, you can see, actually this one has increased, and I'm just guessing it has to do a little bit with the price point of the homes. The student yield there is 0.272 or 2.7 students for every 10 occupied homes. Mission Ranch is a subdivision in the River Bend Elementary School Zone, 538 total lots, 363 of those are occupied. And so 98, still has almost 100 of those in futures. And you can see here, 350,000 price point, and the student yield did drop a little, but it's still 0.45 or 4.5 students. What we look is kind of the average of student yield for single family homes is usually somewhere between 0.4 and 0.6. And so just kind of tell you, this is kind of in the average. The urban at College Station, 123 lots, 79 of those are futures, and a price point of about $350,000 there. A future, Pershing Place. It is in the Riverbend Elementary Attendance Zone, and 103 futures there. And you can see on the right satellite image that they're just beginning to break ground, clearing ground for there. No roads or anything in that we showed in December. Arrowhead Village, it is in the Forest Ridge Elementary Zone. 29 total future lots there, and road work had started in December. So this slide here just shows how multifamily is the market of multifamily. It's strong here just because there's so many college students that the housing market, the multifamily, the apartments stay strong. I will tell you, in other school districts that I work with, the apartments that don't have colleges in them, the apartment industry has really struggled over the last year because they keep building them and they don't have enough residents. And so, but this is just pretty average that it always is for you guys. When we look at the multifamily developments that are going on in the district, there are 967 multifamily units that are near completion in the district. You can see the color there that are under construction that are purple, and then the light blue are futures, and just 320 of those future multifamily units that are impacting College Station ISD. So when we look at those yields, it's interesting to look at yields of multifamily. This map shows you the different yields from green all the way to red, and you do see some of those multifamilies that are red, but basically College Station ISD averages about 0.122 students for all of the multifamily. So if you average that, you get about 1.2 students for every 10 units. However, manufactured home yields, which are typically higher than multifamily, are at 0.39, so almost 4 students for each manufactured home that you have in the district. And then the red outlined represents student housing, and so you get, as you would expect, very, very little yield out of the student housing developments. So where are the students? 83% of all the students reside within the city of College Station. And then you can also see here that 85% of, that was 83%, sorry, I may have said 85. 83% of all the students district-wide are west of Highway 6. And so obviously Southwood Valley and Pebble Creek and some of those new developments there that are east of 6 will change that a little bit, but predominantly west of Highway 6. This slide here, the purple represents newcomers. Those are students that are new to College Station ISD, and then the turquoise line are the leavers. Those are students that leave. When the purple are new students, and the green are students that leave in a given year. You can see this year you guys are down 25. That you've had 25 more students leave than you have new students into the district. But what's important is to show how last year that was minus 170. And so there is a lot more balance this year in regard to new students entering the district and students leaving the district. This is a birth rate versus kindergarten enrollment. What we use this for is obviously we look at county births, and then 5 years later how many students are attending schools, and that ratio seems to be right around 76%. In a couple of years we are projecting it to be about 82%, but we really continues to mirror, kindergarten attendance seems to mirror the birth rates. So let's talk about student attendance for a little bit. This year the total enrollment did decrease by 48 students. 31 of those. So one reason of that, and I don't have a pointer here, but if you look at the 12th grade last year, you had 983 students that were 12th seniors that we assume graduated. And then if you go over to the 24-25 and look at the kindergarten, you only had 952 kindergartners. So you have 31 students before anybody even starts moving in or leaving the district. And so that's almost a wash when you're talking about 48 students down from last year. The largest group, the largest grades are 9th and 10th grade, and that's pretty common. You can see diagonally, if you go back to 2021, that 7th grade group was the largest. They remain one of the top 2 in 8th grade. They remain one of the top 2 in 9th grade. And last year's 10th graders, that's been a large group that's gone through your district. As a cohort, they've gone through, been pretty large the whole time. So let's talk about forecast for a little bit. The forecast shows that the district is gonna decrease slightly in the next few years, which is pretty common from what we're seeing with interest rates remaining where they are and new home sales still being slow, that's impacting the total growth. We are projecting the district would be over 14,500 by the year 32-33. So how's that impacting each individual campus? You can see here Pebble Creek, Southwood Valley, and Spring Creek are all currently at 110% capacity, and they're projected to remain over 110% capacity. When we look at our intermediate schools, you do have Pecan Trail that's approaching capacity within 85% now, but still will remain under capacity as we're projecting. And then Oakwood Intermediate in 2930 will get to that 85% threshold of capacity. When we look at our middle schools, Wellborn Middle is at 85% capacity, but it seems that it's going to stay under capacity. A&M Consolidated and College Station High both are really at or around capacity, and they kind of stay that way. So that's College Station is above capacity by more than 110%, but it kind of levels out. So key takeaways. District has 26 active subdivisions with approximately 650 lots that are available for building at this time. 3,100 lots in the planning stage throughout the district, and projected to be enrollment for the district more than 14,600 in 34-35, which is 10 years from now. Questions?
Well, I guess maybe not for you, but for, I mean, the high school capacity is going to change, right?
Correct. With
right?
each new addition, each high school would gain capacity for approximately 700 students at each.
So some of that yellow on there, there's plenty in,
Correct.
yeah, on both of those.
And you know, and you guys know this, but high school numbers aren't. It's not as tight in a high school that's at capacity than it is in elementary that's at capacity, because usually not all your kids are in the building at the same time. You know, you have an athletic period, you have 250 kids that aren't walking the halls, and so capacities can deal with a little bit, but buildings do start paying the price if you stay at or above capacity for too long.
Can you go back to 20 real quickly? The one with, I just want to make sure I understood that. You said that, no, sorry. Well, maybe on, it's this, the birth rate compared to,
Yes, ma'am.
all right, what you said on that. That
So
the ratio is,
No, wrong button.
can't remember what you said. If you would,
So what we do is we look at birth rate data from 5 years ago. I mean, so obviously these kindergarten students were born 5 years ago. And so really you can see from the graph there that we take the bottom is kindergarten enrollment and the one above is the district births. And so we stay pretty consistent with that. You can see that it dipped a little bit in 2020 school year, that the births and the kindergarten enrollment didn't match because of COVID. But you can see there that the district births remain fairly flat, but they did see an uptick last year in 2023. And then, so we use that data to make projections 5 years out of what we anticipate the kindergarten enrollment's going to be. So right now, your kindergarten enrollment was 952, and we see that dip a little bit next year, but then increase to 988, 993, and 989 over the years after that.
okay.
Paul, I think the numbers in the, I just caught this during your presentation, the numbers in the chart on the right are reversed. Kinder enrollment should be where district births are, and the numbers would be accurate. I think they got
You're
flipped.
correct.
Yes,
You're
sir.
correct. Sorry
Yeah,
about
the
that.
headings, yeah.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, just move
The
kinder
table's
enrollment
mislabeled,
over.
correct.
That's it. Just flip flop them, they'll be accurate.
But the ratios are accurate.
Right. Yeah, the numbers are accurate, just the columns just need to be reversed.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Harkrider.
Because you had mentioned, you said that enrollment is generally flat. We have a few dips are projected to be. And you said you thought a lot of that is the same trend that people are not, because of housing prices, is that the main driver? I mean, this is not, we've got a little bit more of a gap than we used to, but it looks like it's going to be consistent. I mean, some of the numbers used to be in the 80%, but now.
Right.
Right. But at least in the recently, they've
Right.
been
Just
around.
looking at the trends there, obviously with the we do use this for our kindergarten projections. And kindergarten projections are a big part of, if you have a big kindergarten class, like I showed you with that 7th grade class that 5 years ago, when you have a big kindergarten class, it really impacts the whole district because it's going to impact them for 12 years. And so, but it is a little not, as high with the ratio that we've been using. And then, of course, the housing market. The more homes that are sold, the more families that are coming in, the more likelihood that you're going to have students in those homes. And so when fewer homes are sold, a lot of times what's happened in this recent is projections that had been done a couple of years ago, it just kind of moved everybody back a year because not as many homes is sold on the same rate that they did before.
That's something that's seen throughout the state of Texas right now. When you look at percentage of births to kindergartners, we've seen a dip, and that's just the entire state right now.
I think when you break it down, the real estate piece comes into play because, I mean, we can talk about College Station housing and the sales prices and things like that. But I think you do have to bring in the interest rate piece of it because the 1.52% interest rate that we had a few years back is now 8 and 9, maybe 6 or 7 now. And folks are just making decisions based on a lot of that and spending power and things like that. Where College Station, if I recall, tendency-wise, home market tends to be a little inflated compared to other markets. That's just the nature of the beast that College Station is. But we knew this from other reports in the past that it was going to level out like this. So this isn't a shock to me, having served on the board. But I mean, we've got a whole lot of other factors these days that we didn't know we would have this year and going forward. So while these are great forecasts and this and that, the future is yet to be unknown for us, and that's just the facts of life, and we'll deal with it. But I think the real estate market has a big driver of our district just in general, always has been, which is a good problem to have. But it's also one of those detriments that we just as single families and things like that. Because as you were going through the subdivisions and things, I was writing down price point and interest rates a problem here, affordability here. This one is affordable. This one's too far south. They don't want to live that far outside of College Station. I mean, there's a whole lot of variables. So just due process on this. We'll just have to continue to watch, see what happens.
So I'm going to bring up one of the elephants in the room, I think, but yeah, I totally understand when we're talking about home sales, new people moving in, but we've got people who've lived here a long time. They're where they are. They're maybe not moving around. And when I see that chart that has the birth rate and the kindergarten enrollment, and it seems to widen at least a little bit, and you make the comment that's across the state, I think we can probably think of some other reasons why that might be happening and just alternate choices that people are making for education. So I am curious, just as this is something that you do a lot, are you seeing any kind of trend where people are choosing other choices for their kids and then maybe those come back to public school as they enter, secondary education?
Well, we really see that more at middle school than we do typically at kindergarten. But we are seeing it impacting kindergarten more recently than it has in the past. People, nobody wants to send their kid to junior high and because everybody's nervous about something, so they choose alternatives, and then they typically come back at the high school. So that does happen a lot. We don't really chart that. Where you can see that is kind of with your leavers and your newcomers, is that people that are choosing to leave this last year, you've had almost equal number that have chosen to come to College Station ISD. We don't have that broken down by grade level. And one of the slides that we don't have here that is it's across the state of Texas in regard to enrollment. Right after COVID, there was like a 35,000 student increase. 2 years ago was like a 72,000 student increase, and this last year it was only 12,000. So people are making different choices, and it's not, and so that's a, you know, when you talk, I mean, the population of Texas is not shrinking. And then when you show that the enrollment in public schools goes from 70, increase, still an increase, but an increase of 72,000 to 13,000, they're making other choices.
Another question in my mind, just trying to think of, how do we take into account, like maybe it's on these newcomers and leavers? I think we hear there's a lot of retirement folks that come to this community. And so like looking at the fact that maybe the existing properties, not these new things, but are the student yields changing on those properties? I don't know, is that, and again, those might be for, those aren't, they're not for new students entering the district, but maybe some are moving here at middle grade ages, not kindergartners, I mean, when I say new students. I mean, does that factor in here? That, because I do believe that's a belief that there's more people moving here without children, a lot of retirees. I don't know.
We don't track that specifically. Our focus really is on new home development and home sales. I will tell you, as a school administrator, and Dr. Harkrader can tell you this, but as neighborhoods get older, then you do have people, I mean, that they had their kids here, they all went to school here, and then they don't leave. And so the availability does get less in established older neighborhoods.
Yeah, I think that's some of it too, and maybe, I mean, I think that's what affecting some of the home prices too, and some of.
Well, I think what the home prices tell you is people are coming here, and there's no new homes, and so they're moving to the existing homes, and then, you know, it's if you can get what you can get, and the prices have increased. I think that's what tells me is that sharp increase of existing home prices going up means that people are moving here and they're forced to buy existing homes instead of new homes.
Anything else? Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Well, sorry, I do have a question for us. What are we gonna do about, I mean, so the yellow discussion, I mean, I know you're kind of saying we don't know, but, is this, what's our plan to talk about that? And maybe nothing's too bad, right? Is there, what's the?
What yellow discussion are you referring
This,
to?
going back to this, I mean, do we have any real capacity issues? Just that's,
Yeah, we've got capacity issues at elementary, intermediate, and middle school level.
Yep.
And so our plan, more than likely, will be at the June meeting. We will ask Zonda to come back. We will talk about the campuses we have concerns with, and then show you a glimpse at what potentially rezoning would look like, elementary, intermediate, and middle school level in particular areas. Yeah, he identified the 3 campuses at Southwood Valley, Pebble Creek, and Spring Creek are a concern at the elementary level. Intermediate level, Pecan Trail and Welborn's a concern currently right now at the middle school level. And so our plan would be, we would show you guys the information. We would release that publicly to get input from community and parents, what that looks like. Bring the feedback back, see if we make any adjustments, show you that again, put that back out again for feedback, and then my penciled in plan would be that you guys would approve the rezoning for 26, 27 in November. That way we need enough time to potentially grandfather in students at their existing campus. Students that want to move, that we have time to communicate with parents, because then we've got to figure out staffing and who needs to potentially add students and what that looks like, and add teachers. So that's the tentative schedule right now. Sooner rather than later, we've got to have enough time to plan for 26, 27. So doing that in the spring of 26 does not give us enough time. I've got to have, when we make staffing decisions and give contracts in April of 26, I've got to know approximately how many kids are going to be moved and what that looks like, so we can advertise positions if we need to add some.
And our parents need to know too. The families need to know. I think it's so important that we start it as early as possible. So
Well, that's,
for us to look forward to.
that's the anticipated date.
All right, that'll bring us to item E, adjourn.
But I'm not gonna, I didn't take it off. But I think we should get some either transmittal or something. I'll be happy.
Welcome, everybody. It is a little after 7, March 18th, regularly scheduled board meeting, call to order. Item B, declaration of quorum, 5 members present. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Welcome to the meeting of the College Station Independent School District Board of Trustees. We were elected at large to represent the interests of our community and our state and educating our students. Our mission for our students in this district is success each life, each day, each hour. We adhere to all pertinent laws, policies, and procedures in posting agendas and conducting our meetings. The detailed agenda information was made available to us at least 72 hours in advance. We've all come to this meeting informed and prepared. We've just completed a workshop meeting where we heard reports and discussed much of the information needed to make decisions in either this meeting or in upcoming meetings. This is a meeting of the 7 trustees in a public setting rather than a public meeting. As such, public comment is included on the agenda at a specific time. Requires us to listen rather than take action so as to abide by the Open Meetings Act. We're pleased that you've taken time this evening to join us. We are very proud of this school district. We thank you for your interest in and support of our students. That will bring us to item C1, pledges. I think we have kiddos from Creekview, Greens Prairie, and Spring Creek tonight.
Good evening. I'm Donna Barrington. I'm the principal at Greens Prairie Elementary, and I have 2 4th graders who are shining stars. They're amazing students, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you. So I'm going to turn the mic over to them.
Hi, I'm Layla. I'm Adeline. My favorite subject in school is Texas history.
Your favorite memory about Greens Prairie, your favorite thing about Greens Prairie?
My teachers.
And your hobbies?
I like to read, I like to draw, and I like to bake.
Tell me your favorite thing to bake.
Brownies. My favorite subject is also Texas history.
Okay, your favorite memory about Greens Prairie?
Miss B.
Okay, and your hobbies?
Reading, singing, and randomly dancing.
Okay, all right. Nice, ladies. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mindy Chapa. I'm the proud principal of Spring Creek Elementary, and I have 2 of my wonderful 4th graders with us tonight. I have Brooklyn Branch and I have Kason Granger. They have been with Spring Creek since kindergarten, and they have been a joy at Spring Creek. They both bring so much happiness and just a ray of sunshine. As you can tell, Kason's our best dressed always at Spring Creek. And so I'm going to let them share with you what makes Spring Creek so special.
Hello, my name is Brooklyn Branch. I love the receptionist, Miss Choppa and Miss Young, and my class.
Hi, I'm Kason Granger, and I love Spring Creek because our staff and our faculty always helps you when you need help.
And I'm Mike McKeever, the principal at Creekview Elementary. I've got 2 of our 4th grade, can't count. Yeah, I wasn't educated at Creekview, but thankfully. Let's see here. Got 2 4th graders here that are fantastic leaders on our campus, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Howdy, I'm Colin Sledge. I am a 4th grader at Creekview Elementary and a leader at Gator Kids. What I like to do with my free time is play games. My favorite thing about Creekview is Gator Kids because it has a lot of fun. In my future, I want to be a YouTuber. And what if I was a principal? I would probably put 5th grade here at Creekview Elementary.
Hi, my name's Tucker. I am a 4th grader at Creekview Elementary. I am also a leader for our Gator Kids program. My favorite thing about Creekview is our teachers and our Gator Kids program. If I could change anything about our school, it would be to have 5th and 6th grade at our school.
So I told them that you guys were in charge of things. So, all right. So we'll start us with the pledges.
Colin, you're holding it.
If you could stand for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Now for the moment of silence, you may begin. Thank you. You may be seated.
All right, very nice. Okay, come on in. We'll get
Staff. Staff is recognized.
come up. Here we go first. Well, this is a new tradition for us, and I love it. So I get to introduce to you the hardest working, the biggest heart, the go-getters. These ladies are initiators. They just do. They see a need. But most importantly, they love their kids, and they are our SPED team. Amy Epps is our dyslexia teacher. Jenny Fortner is our reading resource teacher. And then Angela Dusek is our paraprofessional. Amy and Jenny opened the doors at Greens Prairie. So we've been together for 14 years now. And then Angela came to us 10 years ago. So, but you talk about loving kids and just doing what's above and beyond. But sometimes they work with the students that are struggling, and to build their confidence, to be proficient, successful readers, they take that job seriously. And so they are a model and an inspiration to the staff, to the students, and to me. So I appreciate all of you very much. And I love having them call Greens Prairie home. So thank you.
Okay, so I would like to recognize my instructional coaches, Brooke Thompson and Melissa Crouch, but Melissa Crouch is still on spring break, so we're only going to have Brooke tonight. So we have Brooke because our instructional coaches go above and beyond any of their coaching duties. They do everything on our campus, and most importantly, they've been helping us kind of roll out and lead our Solution Tree PLC, which is a feat. It's a huge feat. And so they have been wonderful, wonderful helpers with that, and they have been so optimistic, thinking outside the box. It has just been a joy. This is Brooke's first time being instructional coach, and she is rocking it. She is just so wonderful with our staff and with our students. I don't know what we could do without you. Thank you so much for all you do.
All right, I got a team to bring up here, so if you could come and join me here. I brought a group of staff members that a couple years ago started a program on our campus, and we talked about it a little bit. Some of our students got to share during the pledges that they are part of Gator Kids. And Gator Kids is a program at our school that meets once a week after schools, and it's really geared towards building a community of servant leaders. And so they raise money for different projects. A couple of things that they've done. They've done trick or treat for UNICEF. They've done gratitude challenges around the campus to recognize the hard work of our teachers. Campus beautification never goes unlooked. Salvation Army bell ringing. They spent the whole day bell ringing on Saturday for Salvation Army. They packed food bags. And so really it's just an organization that teaches our kids that it's above and beyond just the math and the reading and the science and those subjects, but it really teaches them how to be better community members. And each of these ladies gives above and beyond. And so this is Elaine Corton, Amy Toland, Jody Smith, Christina Mooring, Susan Isles, Anna Langford, Tabitha Revelo, and Karen Rossman were not able to make it tonight. But each one of these are a model for our kids. And one of the things that we work on as Gators is talking about being gracious, accountable, trustworthy, giving outstanding effort and respect. And these ladies model that for our kids, and they teach them about each of those qualities. And just very thankful for your hard work and dedication beyond the classroom. So thank you.
All right, Mr. Horak, members of the board. It's again my honor to recognize some more folks here tonight. We have students who have recently competed in state level competitions, and we're excited to recognize them here tonight. We have 4 student groups, and we'll start with our state wrestling participants. So the district had 9 wrestlers compete at the 2025 UIL State Wrestling Tournament last month in Cyprus. We had both high schools represented. Leading the way for College Station High School was senior John Humphreys. He was the lone CSISD wrestler who advanced. Yeah, come on, John. John was the lone CSISD wrestler who advanced through the championship bracket. He made it through 2 rounds before finishing as the 6th best wrestler in the state for 5A 165-pound weight class. And then our next highlighted athlete was College Station High School junior Nadia Elizondo. Nadia led the way through the consolation bracket for CSISD wrestlers, advancing through 4 rounds and securing a top 10 finish in the 126-pound weight class. So we did have 7 other wrestlers, and qualifying for the state tournament is a feat in itself, and we commend all of our CSISD wrestlers for their hard work and perseverance this season. This accomplishment is a testament to their dedication and strength, as well as their coaches of our CSISD wrestling program. So please congratulate the rest of our wrestlers. And wrestlers, I'll call your names in just a second. Everybody give them a round of applause. So from College Station High School, Anela Cantero. College Station High School, Ariana Lopez. From College Station High School, Brenda Cunecca. And from A&M Consolidated High School, Josiah Tia Lavella. And I believe we do have one of our coaches here. Jason, you want to come up here? Jason DeVores. Oh, one more, guys. One more. One more. All right. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, the boys and girls swim and dive teams from A&M Consolidated High School recently competed at the 2025 UIL State Swim Meet in Austin. After both the girls and boys teams finished second at the regional meet. At the state meet, the boys finished 5th and the girls finished 12th. And Tiger swimmers and divers brought home over 5 medals from the state competition. In addition to their success at the state meet, the team received several all-district and all-region honors. And in addition to that, this is a long tradition for the Consol Swim and Dive team. They've made more than 10 consecutive trips to the state swim meet in the course of their history. And so we'd like to congratulate these student athletes for their hard work, dedication, commitment to continuing the legacy of success here in CSISD. Let's give them a hand. So students, as I call your name, if you guys will come up, receive your certificate, and shake the hands of the board members, and then we'll take a group photo at the end. First, B. Bickham. Alexis Blythe. Jaden Winneman. Helen Hunziker. Ethan Jang. Jaden Kwok. Ariana Larson. Colby Martin. Cooper Pogue. Brooklyn Poole. Joseph Guave. Nate Sherrard. And Edward Yang. And coaches Marcy Kirk and Dusty C. We have a couple more. Who do we have? All right, Kelsey Rasmussen. Okay, and Maddie Kleppis. All right, students from the College Station High School Business Professionals of America chapter recently competed at the State Leadership Conference in Dallas, with 11 students qualifying for the national competition. Students demonstrated their expertise and professionalism, competing in various events across categories such as finance, business administration, management information systems, digital communications and design, management and marketing and communications, and health administration. In addition to competing, students contributed internship hours to help ensure the success of the conference and participated in leadership, personal growth, and development workshops. The chapter's engagement and outreach were recognized by the BPA Cares Social Media Buzz Award. Students, as I call your name, please come and be recognized by the board. Nam Nguyen. Sawa Miyamoto. Kelly Ding. Derek Wynn. Andrew Kim. Lynn Wynn. And their advisor, Shanika Brooks. Give them a second to get their certificates. All right. All right, and lastly, we're proud to recognize a group of exceptional students from A&M Consolidated High School and College Station High School who recently represented CSISD at the Texas Association of Future Educators state competition in Galveston. These students are a part of the Ready, Set, Teach program, which is a pathway for future educators and allows them to gain hands-on experience and develop the skills needed to inspire the next generation. Competing at the state level is a remarkable accomplishment, and our students showcase their creativity, dedication, and passion for education. So first, earning a gold medal for her exceptional work in the teacher-created materials category is Kaylin Kieschnick from College Station High School. Sorry. Kieschnick. All right, also bringing home a gold medal in the interactive bulletin board category is Nikaylee Walker from A&M Consolidated High School. All right, winning a silver medal in the interactive bulletin board category is, I'm going to butcher your name, I'm so sorry. Johanna Carter from A&M Consolidated High School. And also competing in the children's literature at pre-K Spanish was Samantha Ponce Rodriguez, College Station High School. And in exploring support service careers was Maricela Gabaldon. Right. And their advisor, Tiffany Thorne.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chuck Longwell. I'm the driver supervisor with the Transportation Department, and I'm here to recognize one of our newer drivers, Sergio Ortuño. Sergio came to us right at the end of October, and quickly got his license and has become one of our very reliable drivers. I don't think anything actually shakes this man. I've been in conversations with him, and he just, yeah, okay. He has become a source of just a constant calm, and he's always there when we need him, picking up where things might have fallen off. And he's just always there, and I'm very, very thankful that he decided to come work for us. So I have a certificate here for you and a gift card that was provided by E3 and the Education Foundation, along with that fancy parking spot. So thank you so much for everything you do. It's a new trainee.
All right, that'll bring us to item C4. We want to recognize the artwork there at the back of our boardroom from the students at Creekview, Greens Prairie, and Spring Creek. So make sure y'all check those out before you head out today. Brings us to item D1, board reports. Anybody like to go first?
I have a couple. We had the February meeting of SHAC that I attended, and at that meeting, Tracy Boudreau gave us a safety update from the district, and I felt like that was really informative for everybody. That was great. And just on a side note, thank you to Ms. Boudreau for all the work that she does in that area. Education Foundation has a lot going on. It's the end of the year. They're always busy, but a couple things to note. One new thing this year is that the Education Foundation is matching a $20,000 grant to help with a new ag initiative we have in our district. And I think that's really cool because this is all, partially in part to our new CTE center and the things that are happening there. But that money is going to support a freezer sale at the Brazos City Youth Livestock Show. And that helps some of our CSISD students to recoup some of their investment they've made in this year so that they can continue to do those same things next year. And that's a really great new program. Also, Senior Hall of Fame's coming up on April 23rd, and that's where we're going to be honoring 64 of our outstanding students and the educators that they've chosen. So thank you to Education Foundation for all the work they're doing for our kids and teachers.
I'm on the Head Start Policy Council, so just a few updates for Head Start. First, grab a cup of joe this coming Tuesday, the 25th, here at 9 a.m. It's going to be the chat, and it's going to be all about early education and Head Start. Secondly, they have a roundup coming up. So go to that on Wednesday, April 2nd, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. There's just a couple of things you need to bring with you just to see if you can become a part of our early education group here at the district. And then thirdly, it is the National Head Start 60th birthday this year. So big deal. It's been 6 decades of getting kids involved at an early age, and it's just really important to kind of celebrate that. So, yeah.
All right. Superintendent update.
Yes, sir. The year's flying by. We have only 9 weeks left in the 24-25 school year. So time is flying by, and as you can tell by your calendars, the spring is extremely busy. Wednesday, we have a DESC meeting at 4:10. Thursday is our success team meeting. Friday is our last trustee tour. We'll visit College Hills. I'm going to look at tweaking this a little bit next year, that on our visits we'll do an AM and PM visit so we can get around to more campuses. So we'll look at that and change up that schedule a little bit next year and do a 9 to 10:30, come back here for lunch, and then a 1 to 2:30 and hit a school twice to kind of a little bit more on your time, but we'll get you around to see. And if you can't make one, but possibly you could make the other. So I'll get that schedule out towards the end of the spring. We have a secondary staffing analysis with leadership team here in campuses starting next Monday and Tuesday. So at the April board meeting, we'll kind of give you an update of where we are from a staffing analysis standpoint, K through 12, and what that looks like. And March the 29th is our Brazos County Youth Livestock Show.
Can I just point out one thing that you've done, and the note, I didn't know if you were going to say it, so I waited, but the legislative update email that just came out yesterday, am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. I just want to make sure that, I mean, it was great to have that and make sure everybody's aware that that is available for you to sign up and get regular updates that we're providing, the district's providing about key legislative bills and where they stand. So, I mean, it's a great resource. Do we have that on the website also, that they can actually go? Where can they access that on the website?
Board legislative updates. It's under the board.
It's under the board, and then okay, wonderful. I want to say appreciate that very much.
Yeah, the legislative session will really start picking up now that the last date of file bills has passed, so things will really start picking up. There is a major divide between both houses when it comes to vouchers and what that looks like, and a really, really large divide when it comes to funding public education and what that looks like. And so they're not, it's not a surprise. They're generally not, each house is not super close, but hopefully there's going to be a compromise that will benefit our school district and our teachers and staff members big time here in the next several weeks. So we'll see how that pans out.
All right, that'll bring us to item E, hearing of citizens. We don't have any signed up, and then that brings us to item F, consent agenda. Those items are item G, I1, J1 through J7. And that is all.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Motion by Ms. Simmons, second by Ms. Ege. Any further question or comment? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Bring us to item K1. Consider approval of a guaranteed maximum price amendment of $38,878,808 for the construction and renovation of A&M Consolidated High School with Duratec, Inc., and to appoint the district superintendent, Dr. Tim Harkrider, to the district's representative, and to authorize him to execute the agreement with Duratec, Inc. Mr. Buckner.
Okay, thank you for having me tonight. So Duratec has, they were selected this past June as the construction manager at risk for one of the major bond projects of the 23 bond, which is the additions and final phase of renovations to A&M Consolidated High School. They, after multiple meetings with stakeholders for that campus, with principal, department leads and everything, and working with VLK architects, able to come to all of the construction documents and the design of this project. And the Duratec put this project out for bid earlier this winter and opened up those bids February 5th. And after consultation with Duratec, VLK, and representatives from College Station, including myself and Josh Simak, we were able to come to a GMP for this project. So the GMP they came with is $38,878,808 for this project. They are looking to commence on this, as was brought up in the workshop earlier, next week on Monday, and has substantial completion in the summer of 2026.
I move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Simmons, second by Ms. McAdams. Any comment or questions?
Just to make, you just mentioned that there was a good discussion of this with a lot more detail on it in the workshop, and that if anybody wants to see the schedule and the plan for how it's going to be managed over the next 15 months, that you can go look at the workshop.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item K2, consider approval of a guaranteed maximum price of $56,850,715 for the construction and renovation of College Station High School, Rock Prairie. and Rock Prairie Elementary with Dramala Construction, and to appoint the district superintendent to the district's representative and to authorize him to execute the agreements with Dramala Construction. Mr. Buckner.
So this project was kind of the same timeline as A&M Consolidated High School. Dramala Construction was selected as the construction manager at risk this past summer, and through various meetings, consultations with architects, and through all of our design process, this project was formulated, and Dramala came to us with the notion to merge these projects together. One is because Rock Prairie Elementary was a smaller project, and there was a apprehension that we would get the subcontractor turnout on bid day. And by combining these, we were able to formulate this into a larger project that was more attractive for subcontractors to bid on. And that is what we did. And we were able to come in under budget on this project, as well as Dramala came to us to shorten the length of this project by changing how we do College Station High School, as doing all 4 areas at the exact same time versus spreading it out. By doing that, we were able to shave off 6 months of the project and close to $100,000 in savings as well. So doing that was more beneficial to the school district to move with that philosophy that they proposed. So with that being said, bids were open on this one on February 19th, and after going through all those, the GMP for the guaranteed maximum price for this project is the $56,850,715 for both Rock Prairie and College Station High School.
I move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Ege, second by Ms. Simmons. Any further question or comments?
I guess just the added comment that, and you mentioned it, the cost savings, but this was really discussed and brought up in the workshop as well. I
Yes.
mean, your team is taking on a lot of projects starting now, right? But that you mentioned some of the cost savings of putting these together, but also just as the potential inflation costs that could happen if we, delay. So I think a lot of good argument for having this all get started, even though it's going to be busy for y'all's team and also a lot going on at one time. But
It'll be busy, but it'll be a quick 2 years for all these projects. But you don't know what the future holds with things going on, with the potential of the tariffs, everything else. We don't know where prices could be. I mean, I've did projects during COVID, and it was up and down, and it was very crazy with dollar amounts. So it's better to get locked in as soon as you can and move on these projects than delay it.
Well, and besides the financial incentives, I am thankful that our district is moving forward with all of the projects for the bonds that our community, has given us the ability to do, and not, it's great to have those for our students sooner rather than later. So appreciate that.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item K3, consider approval of track repairs at A&M Consolidated High School. Mr. Buckner.
So this one, as y'all know, Hellas replaced or resurfaced the track at A&M Consolidated High School this past summer. After that was completed, actually quite a few months later or so, it was found that in one of the corners of the track, that portion of the track in lane 8 is starting to slump off. It is on the end where the creek is back there. So this is separate from that this past summer. This is a new project, but since Hellas did that one, it was determined to be able to keep our warranties and everything else that they have provided us for that project, to go with them during this project to make those repairs, as well as to fill in the area of the track where the bleachers were in the end zone that were recently removed. And this project has some contingency in it of $14,000, but it gives us a total project cost of $152,835.
sorry, a question on this one, because when I would first see this, knowing we just did the track repairs, that I would have expected this to be part of what they might cover with a warranty, and being that something that the foundation and the part of the structure would be part of it. Can you explain that a little bit more, why this is not included in what we just paid them?
The Consol project was only a resurface. All they did is put a new surface on top of the track. And this issue was not present during that portion of the project this summer. This issue arose after it was all completed. That's why it's separated.
And we identified the issue ourselves. It was not present prior to.
Yeah.
It wasn't present several months after that. And so it wasn't until started track practice early January, middle of January, that we noticed that it was not what it was 3 weeks before then.
Anyone have a motion?
I move to approve as presented.
I second that.
Motion by Ms. Simmons, second by Ms. Wilson. Further comment or question? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buckner. We will go into executive session for 2 items. Thank y'all for being here tonight. If you're here when we get back, we'll see you then.